Marcellus Wiley.
Yes.
Do you have an issue with Tracy McGrady's comments on Curry?
No, I don't have an issue with it. I respect Tracy McGrady to the fullest. And I understand this was a tough conversation for him to have. You could tell by his response. He put his toe in those dangerous waters, but he didn't say it with his chest, and he didn't take a big splash in the deep end. But I'm up here in this suit to do it just for you, Tracy McGrady, because I understand where you were going with this. One, let's just talk about the narrative of Steph Curry. The narrative of Steph Curry is, one, how great is he? Because there have been times where he's allowed others, he's deferred, or just, frankly, been outplayed by his own teammates in the biggest of moments. There's a narrative out there that Steph Curry in the regular season versus Steph Curry in the finals, postseasons, not the same Steph Curry. I get that. That gave TMac some ammunition to start this conversation. Now, TMac wanted to go two places. One, damn it, y'all asked me about Steph Curry when I'm comparing him, the individual, to these other individuals, and he doesn't compare. And then T-Mac wanted to probably insert himself in there like, look, if we having an individual conversation, I had some moments myself, and I've been in that position before where you're like, let's undress all this team success and talk about mano. It's a different conversation. T-Mac didn't go that route either. He stayed right here in these shallow waters because he didn't want any controversy over these comments. He stayed here and said, look, I've learned from how we communicate in this world today that the only way that you really get a conversation like this going and a conversation like this the way that you should respect it is if you talk down. You can't talk up in this world anymore. We just saw this situation happen in the NBA. If you are looking at Tracy McGrady and saying, who are you to talk about Steph Curry because you don't have any championships, that's why T-Mac stayed in the shallow end. But Steph Curry does not compare to those other players, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, individually. We know that, and T-Mac knows that as well. But he wanted to stay a little dry on that conversation. That's why I had to take that plunge in the deep end.
It's interesting, Sel. I don't fully disagree with you. I think it's nuanced. I think the problem is T-Mac is doing what we all do when he's looking at things with a lazy eye. From a lazy eye perspective, no, Steph does not compare to Jordan. He doesn't compare to Kobe. He doesn't compare to Magic. First and foremost, physically. Magic, what, 6'8", 6'9"? Kobe, 6'6". Jordan, 6'6". Steph, 6'3" on a good day. Jordan, one of the most athletic, if not the most athletic players the game has ever seen. Kobe, one of the most athletic, if not the most athletic player of the generation. And Magic, one of the most physically dominant players ever, playing 1 through 5 before people were playing 1 through 5. No, Steph does not compare with the lazy eye. But if you look with the keen eye, Slick, and that's the eye that I know Slick Rick to usually look through, if you look with the keen eye and you really start to dissect some things and decipher some truths, you realize Steph does make everybody around him better to the same degree that Jordan did, that Kobe did, that Magic did. If we're being real, Magic obviously helped elongate Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career as Magic ran point for the Showtime Lakers. Kobe Bryant, he helped make Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol was a great player, but Pau Gasol without Kobe Bryant's not a champion. Pau Gasol without Kobe Bryant would have been known significantly more so for his overseas play than his domestic play. Let's not even talk about Lamar Odom. Who's Lamar Odom without Kobe Bryant? He definitely ain't dating a Kardashian. I digress.
Man.
When you talk about Steph Curry, who's Klay Thompson without Steph? Who's Draymond Green without Steph? And truth be told, who's Steve Kerr, the coach, without Steph? From a lazy eye, I agree with T-Mac, Slick. No, Steph Curry cannot compare. But when you look with the keen eye, you realize, wait a second. Steph is about to have 4 NBA titles in 6 years. Kobe had 5 in 7 years. Magic had 5 in 9 years. Jordan had 6 in 6 years. Wait a second. Kobe made Hall of Famers of players around him. Magic made Hall of Famers of players around him. Jordan obviously made Hall of Famers around. Steph Curry's making Hall of Famers of players around him. So are they in a different class individually? Absolutely. But from what these individual talents do for the greater good of the teams around them, that is where you find Steph Curry in the exact same class as Kobe Bryant and Magic Johnson.
In other words, Acho, you agree with Marcellus and I that Steph Curry is not in the same class as Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, except in one particular area, and that's the success that he generates for his team.
Yes, sir.
But this is all-encompassing. And this is why, Marcellus, I believe Tracy McGrady isn't saying it with his chest, not because he's fearful of what the fallout is going to be, but because as Acho said, it's layered and it's nuanced. I don't want to take anything away from what Steph Curry has accomplished, but the reality is he's physically different than those guys and can't impose himself on the game the same way. There's a reason that the Golden State Warriors have the unique offense that they have, that it is different than anyone else, and why those knuckleheads out there are like, why doesn't Steve Kerr play more pick and roll with Steph Curry to get him shots? Well, it's because physically that would wear him down. Playing pick and roll and coming off that and wearing a defender and trying to get to the cup is far more taxing than the way they play, which is, for the most part, he relocates. He does a lot of his work without the ball, and Draymond finds him. And Otto, you were saying, who is Klay Thompson and Draymond Green without Steph Curry? Well, I would flip it around. Who is Steph Curry without Draymond Green and Klay Thompson at their very best? We're seeing some of that right now. Klay Thompson not being Klay Thompson. It was masked because Jordan Poole stepped up and gave them something. But Steph Curry has demonstrated, if you give me the pieces, I can make it all work, and I will make room for those pieces to work, and then I will put my own flourish on it. But that's a little bit different than we're talking about the very top echelon of guys who, no matter what you gave them, to Cellus's point, like, he made them better. And Steph can do that, but he also needs guys to make him optimal.
Say it, Slick. I love it when someone else gives a take and they say it like Celus said it, and you said it more than one time, so that made me feel like I said something. Well, I'm about to say something right here. A couple things I just got to highlight. The difference between Magic, Kobe, Michael, and Steph Curry is pretty obvious. This is no shot at Steph Curry.
Don't take it then.
No. I'm going to take it from 3. All those other guys makes their teammates better without themselves getting worse, especially when needed most. Think about this. Steph Curry has regressed in NBA Finals in years past compared to what he has put up. Let's go to the championship year. Oh, they didn't win a championship when he was the league MVP. Unanimous MVP, despite winning 73 wins. Why? Because Steph Curry went from 30 points a game to 25 in the postseason, and all of his numbers decreased. That's on his resume. And we don't look at the other greats. Imagine if LeBron, imagine if Jordan loses a championship. Well, you really got to imagine with Jordan, but loses, and then you're less of a version of yourself. That's a differentiator right there. So this is the age-old argument we're having with Steph Curry we've had with several players. Tom Brady found himself in this argument thousands of times with Aaron Rodgers. Barry Sanders found himself in this argument thousands of times with Emmitt Smith. Who's hiding behind the team's success in this conversation that inflates them to be the better individual player? Because most people thought Aaron Rodgers was a better individual talent and player. And then there's this team success with Tom Brady. There was Emmitt Smith, who was hiding behind the team success of the championships, people said, when Barry Sanders was just a better running back. So now we find ourselves right here again. Steph Curry can't hide behind the fact that he's only 6'3", because that's also something that he game planned for in his NBA career. I'm going to go back because I can't go up. And then he starts hitting the 3 at a volume that no one else has hit in his career in NBA history. So we can't look at Steph Curry the same, because there's so many variables and so many results that shows he's different than these other guys.
Well, the reason that you all aren't wrong is because Steph Curry is the only one of those players, God rest the soul of Kobe Bryant, that's still active. So, I currently rank them differently. Michael Jordan, greatest player of all time or the second greatest player of all time. Either way, he's top 2. Magic Johnson, he is unanimously in everybody's top 5. Kobe Bryant, fairly unanimously in everybody's top 10. And as much as I love Steph, he's not even in my top 10 yet.
Yeah.
And I am the biggest Steph advocate on television that I've seen. So yes, I currently rank them differently. Steph is still going. But when it's all said and done, then I will think the impact they have on everybody around them will be the same. Marcellus, you hit the nail on the head. Yeah. Steph is not as physically imposing as Jordan, Kobe, or Magic, so he cannot physically impose as much. But what Steph can do just as well as any of the other players or any player in the history of the game of basketball is make everybody around him greater. And what is the point of playing basketball? A team sport. It is having the best team. And what is Steph Curry, the first person to do since the Bulls and Michael Jordan? Go to 6 NBA titles in 8 years. So it doesn't really matter how great you are individually. I more so care how great is the team around you and how great do you make the team around you. That's what Steph does as good, if not better, than anybody to have ever played the game. That's the only ranking that we should care about.
All right, before we wrap this, Celus, I need you to take out the lens that Acho gave me. Can you put?
Aye, Captain.
There you go. Now, take that and look at the 2016 finals, which you're referencing to suggest that Steph Curry wasn't all that. Steph Curry played that finals with a sprained knee so badly that he couldn't even get past Kevin Love. On any other day, he can get past him. And this is one of the elements with Steph. Because of his physical size, strength, whatever, he has to be close to maximum in order to do what he does, and he wasn't in that series. I just hate that everybody takes that as a referendum of he's not all that because they didn't win after going 73-9. There was extenuating circumstances why Steph Curry wasn't the same Steph Curry in the finals. If you look at the stats overall, regular season versus the finals specifically, every time he's been there, I dare say his numbers have been better in the finals than the regular season. So we're going to continue to talk about Steph. This isn't the last conversation we're going to have. Celus, I just don't need you going. I would request by using the lens not to use that particular piece as a part of your argument. There's plenty of other things you can go to, but I think it's unfair to Steph if we keep referencing that as a detriment to his accomplishment.
All right, I'll take one of these papers away, that one. He had a boo-boo. He had a boo-boo.
I didn't say you didn't have an argument. Excuse. I just said take that one away.
Okay, I'll give you that. But Acho, we got to put this lens back on. I have to say it quickly. TMac was asked a question about individuals and why Steph Curry is or not on their level, right? So we got to make this an individual conversation. We can't hide behind team sport in this conversation once again. But TMac, I feel you, big dog. I'm going to hit you with a Wileyism. In this world today, they say, you can't say it's sunny outside because you ain't hot enough. TMac got caught in this one. I've been here before because you're looking at somebody else got a championship. You can't clown that dude. And you're like, nah, I got you, mano y mano. But I know what this conversation is, as Acho wants to do it, is team, not individual.